Cool. Justin, thanks so much for joining the Cheers Pod. To kick things off, can you tell me who you are and what is FrostBuddy?
Hey Drew, thanks for having me. Yeah, for some context, I'm Justin. I'm head of ecom and marketing for FrostBuddy, and we are probably the coolest drinkware company you've ever heard of. We make our hero product is our universal can cooler, right? You can fit a 16-ounce can, a bottle, a 12-ounce can, a slim can. But we recently expanded the product line. We offer a 40-ounce tumbler. We offer a water bottle called the Bottle Buddy. It's 32 ounces. It's best in class. We offer a to-go buddy, and essentially it's a insulated cup that you put other cups inside of, like a Starbucks coffee or a Dunkin' coffee, and it keeps the coffee cool or hot for up to 20 hours in some cases. So yeah, we're the latest and greatest drinkware company.
Awesome. Can you just give me a little bit of color on the drinkware category in general and what FrostBuddy's mission is in this category?
We operate in a category that's been dominated by a couple of large players. Yeti and Stanley are both probably the category leaders. Yeti is not as concentrated as in drinkware as Stanley is, right? Yeti has kind of a broad portfolio of products that, keep things cool, whether it's a cooler, whether it's gear for camping. And then Stanley, everyone knows the Stanley story. They were, a $90 million, 100-year-old hunting company up until, 2018 when, they went viral. And kind of brought tumblers into the forefront of insulated drinkware. Um, they also introduced kind of style match tumblers to like outfits or vibes for people, really expanded the category exponentially. And we started in 2020. And we saw an opportunity to do things a little differently, right? Like FrostBuddy is a company that's owned by a couple of brothers. We have Midwestern roots. We value family. We value faith above everything else. And we just want to make products that make people's lives easier, right? Like our initial product was the Universal Koozie. Um, and it was simply commercialized because we didn't understand why people would buy multiple different koozies to handle different format beverages. And so Brock, our founder, and his brother Mitch were able to design one koozie that fits everything. And it's been an amazing journey for them. I'm relatively new to the operation. I've been in this seat for about 6 months, but it's been a wild ride. And I can't wait for what's next.
Fast forwarding to today, how big is FrostBuddy and what has the growth been like this year?
This year's been crazy. Last year we were about $30 million. This year we're projected to be more than 2x that, which is incredible. Really excited for the back half of the year. This year has just been a wild ride since I started. I think what we've done this year that's really set us apart from years past is we're just more organized. We execute more effectively. We're planned out further. Um, and we've had a lot of big hits. Part of what makes FrostBuddy unique is our ability to capitalize on trends, trends in the marketplace, patterns, things of that nature, and commercialize products that are unlike anything our competitors are producing. Take Shark Week, for instance, that just happened a couple of weeks ago. We dropped, a frostbite design, which was basically like a shark, on half of one of our products with blood coming out of the teeth. It was something that was like so out there. Other brands would have seen it as risky, but we embraced it. And it was one of our top selling, kind of custom colorways of the year. I think that's really what makes us, somewhat differentiated in the drinkware category.
Makes sense. And so a big differentiator is, definitely your unique approach to top of funnel. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like and how that is different from other brands?
Yeah. D2C is hard these days, and FrostBuddy is primarily a direct-to-consumer company, right? We operate on a Shopify site. We do sell product on Amazon as well. Amazon's been growing exponentially this year. We have a retail presence in some retailers, but D2C is our bread and butter, and it's just been difficult, kind of post-COVID for brands with a sub $100 AOV, you only have a certain amount of room in that kind of mathematical equation to acquire customers profitably. And fortunately or unfortunately, we don't have a product that has kind of a predictable time between purchase. People come, they purchase a universal from us, it lasts forever because it's super durable. So we need to be profitable on order one, right? Like we need to acquire customers profitably. Our model is never going to be, hey, we'll figure it out later. So with that, from a top of funnel perspective, instead of just running a ton of connected TV or YouTube ads, we really use our organic platforms to kind of drive that top of funnel awareness. We're huge on TikTok. We're big on Instagram. We post on Snapchat pretty regularly, and the goal is, Brock, our founder, he's great in front of the camera. He's funny, he's authentic, he's real. His personality is essentially what makes FrostBuddy so unique. And him and Jake and other members of the team just create content like daily, and it gets posted. We have a more is more strategy. If it doesn't hit, we move on to the next thing. If we find a content category that really performs well for us, we iterate on it and we try to perfect that kind of format of content. And we're always looking at kind of virality. Instead of paying for top of funnel impressions, we earn them by producing content that people want to consume. And not all brands can do this. Like people think it's easy to just stop and shoot a video and push it to TikTok or to Instagram. It's not. There's a lot of thought that goes into how we're going to capture these moments. You need someone to film it. You need at least a rough idea, if not a more formalized outline of what you're going to do. So there is so much effort that goes into kind of the creative content process at FrostBuddy that we're in a very fortunate spot to be able to do this and to do this week over week over week.
If you can give a rough estimate, how many pieces of unique content do you think FrostBuddy's putting out per week?
Oh God. I mean, that really depends on the week. Several dozen on a good week. Across TikTok and across Meta. And it depends. You know, it depends on whether or not we're dropping new products that week. It really depends on a lot of factors, but we try to post multiple times a day across all of those platforms. And like the goal is just attention. We view ourselves as almost more of a content production company than, a company that sells durable goods, because attention is key, especially in 2025 when people are so time pressed and people are just doom scrolling on their phones. Like it's very, very important to produce something that grabs attention versus is perfect from a brand perspective. So that's really our mantra. It's just content that grabs people's attention. And the thought is, eventually they're going to purchase something from us. But beyond just the goal of purchasing, we just want to make FrostBuddy a well-known brand, right? And I think we've done a great job at doing that. A lot of people in my position would be like, "Oh, you need, mass media, whether it's linear TV or something inherently more mass than TikTok and Meta." I'd argue that that's bullshit in 2025. Like to me, Meta and TikTok are the mass media at this point, and linear TV and some of those platforms of yesterday just aren't as impactful. Um, and again, it depends on the demographic you're looking to reach, but my mom's on Facebook, and there's a lot of people over 50 on TikTok. So to me, it's a winning strategy, and we've proven this year that it's scalable.
Totally. So like just to like create a comparison, whereas a bigger brand, a more established brand might be buying a sports sponsorship or paying for a TV ad, FrostBuddy's goal is to appear on feed as much as possible and really create like a fun organic connection with the audience.
100%. That is definitely our goal as a challenger brand. At some point in the future, it may make sense for FrostBuddy to sponsor, the LA Lakers, to use that as an example. But at this point in our kind of journey, it just doesn't make sense. So until then, we're going to keep making content organically that people find value in, whether it's one of Brock's Will It Fits videos, whether it's a beach video showcasing, kind of the breadth of drinks that our products accommodate, or if it's just kind of like a contest, how many universals can we stack without them falling over? I mean, just good-hearted content that's consumable by really anyone. We try to be as inclusive to everyone, every demographic out there. We really do have products for everyone. Whether you're 15-year-old, you want, the Colorado Buffs Bottle Buddy, or you're 25 and you want a mossy oak, kind of camo universal to drink Bush Light out of in your tree stand. Like, we literally have something for everyone.
No, it's awesome. Can you talk a little bit about how like all that content and softening the market, what effect that has on your bottom funnel conversion and where you see that in different channels?
Yeah, I mean, it's been incredible. I don't want to share numbers that are too specific in terms of the bottom of the funnel, but I can say we acquire customers at a rate that allows us to be profitable on order one. Um, I've been in e-commerce for, again, I don't want to date myself here, but more than a decade, and our numbers look as good as numbers used to look back in like 2016 and 2017, and kind of the golden era of kind of e-com social acquisition. So I can't possibly emphasize enough how important this strategy is, and how we kind of broke the mold in terms of making e-commerce fun again, making e-commerce profitable again for a brand that has a sub $100 AOV. It's really, Brock's strategy in content production and propagation has changed the paradigm, at least for us, in terms of being able to acquire customers efficiently, um, from social media, which is incredible.
So you've really leaned into sports, specifically colleges. How big of a driver have licensed products been to FrostBuddy's growth?
Oh, I mean, licensing is so incredibly important. We have a license agreement with the MLB, with the NHL, with a ton of colleges and universities in the US. Most of the biggest players, Alabama, Michigan, Tennessee, Florida. We have licensing agreements with all of them. And what's interesting is we've been in the licensing business for, at this point, almost a full year. And it's just incredible how that has just made up a bigger and bigger percentage of our overall sales mix. And we're super excited, right? Like, we're days away from licensing season really hitting its stride with kind of the beginning of college football season. And I really think the sky's the limit. The thing that's unique about us is there's not many brands that have kind of a core cult following, right? People that just love our products, our to-go buddy, our bottle buddy, and then also that people that love our licensed products, right? Most brands either make licensed products or make their own products. Very, very few make both and do it as well as we do it. So I think that's a huge advantage. We also, recently added to our design team internally, and we have some incredibly amazing new license designs that are going to be dropping in the next couple of months. So super excited for the back half of 2025 and to see how far we can push this.
Absolutely. Can you talk a little bit about Cheers Cash and how it fits into your sports marketing playbook?
Yeah, so I mean, I was introduced to you, Drew, when I started. I think it was late February, early March, and Brock kind of handed me this plan that you guys had put together where we were going to, run promotions around March Madness games. And I came here from the consumer packaged goods industry. And prior to that, I had been selling durable goods online. So I had some well-rounded experience, but I'd never worked for a brand that sold licensed products. So a lot of this was new to me. Um, and we were able to just crush it. It was a bit of a scramble, at least initially, because we do have a small team at FrostBuddy, especially at that point. Um, so getting everything done and in position and all of the ads produced to really, drive velocity behind this promotion was a bit of a scramble. But at the end, each week of the tournament, we used Cheers Cash to launch a promotion where shoppers could pick the winner in a March Madness game, to win a bonus gift card that was 100% the value of their purchase. And the results speak for themselves. We saw almost a 35% increase in AOV, which is huge. And a 50% boost in conversion rate, which obviously, if anyone that's listening to this understands kind of e-commerce metrics, those two are huge. And March Madness in basketball is not as big of a driver for us as college football is. So we're really excited to run this back with you and the team for the entirety of college football season this year. We think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited too. Can you talk a little bit about like the program we're putting together in terms of the FrostBuddy game of the week?
Yeah, so we worked with the Cheers team pretty closely to put together the FrostBuddy Game of the Week program, where we're going to highlight one game every week, the game that we think is going to be the biggest matchup. And then we are just going to do essentially what we did in March Madness, where people can pick the winner. We're going to propagate this via, our organic channels, TikTok, Meta, email, SMS. We're going to put some paid behind it. We're shooting video content. Brock specifically is going to shoot that content. And then we're going to look to see how far we can drive this. We're going to gamify the experience, because who doesn't love getting something for free when they do a little gambling? I mean, I don't know about you, Drew, but I have friends that have gone so far down the gambling rabbit hole that they're talking about the preseason football game that's going on tonight and taking action on it. So people love gambling. And I think you offer the ability for people to gamble safely. If you lose, there's no money out of pocket. If you win, you get, a $70, $80 gift card, depending on what your cart was when you checked out.
There's very few things where you know exactly what the audience's attention is going to be on. And during college football season, if you're targeting a Tennessee or an Alabama or CU fan, it is on that Saturday. So it's like a way to, get excitement around exactly what their friends are going to be going crazy on that weekend and putting your brand straight into the conversation.
100%. I mean, people are diehard. I know there's a lot of diehard NFL fans out there, but people bleed for their alma maters with college football. So anything we can do to make the stakes even a little higher for some friendly competition, we're here for. And I'm hopeful that since this program runs pretty much the entirety of the fall and winter quarters, that we really have some impressive stats to share with everyone, after we complete this.
Yeah, we're super excited as well. Can you speak a little bit about, why kind of, maybe a little bit more boring, like operationally, the benefit of doing like season long program versus like one-off promotion?
Yeah, I think for us, we were looking for kind of one big opportunity for licensing, for a licensing division that aligned with college football. And why this made the most sense is because the Cheers team has helped us at every step in this journey. I know I mentioned before that we don't have a large team, so it's been super helpful that, Drew, you guys helped us put together the schedule of games that you thought would be most impactful. We have weekly status calls. You guys have a Shopify app that automates kind of the gift card portion of this. So once you really create the content and determine kind of the schedule that you want to follow, to me, this was a no-brainer because a lot of this is automated, right? We have a landing page we're going to drive people to. It's a dynamic landing page, so it's going to automatically update itself depending on what the game of the week is for us. You guys have just made this inherently scalable, especially for brands with smaller teams. And, to me, this is the benefit of doing this all season is that we can capture some momentum, right? We're going to get people behind this. Like, oh, did you see FrostBuddy's game of the week last week? Our idea is that we can start getting people talking about this organically on social media and create, amplification of this program throughout the entirety of college football season. And, here's to hoping that both teams in the national championship are FrostBuddy licenses, because we'd love to take it all the way to the end with you guys.
Yeah, totally. I think we've got a pretty good shot. Yeah, it's like, would you say
We
like
do.
gamified loyalty program is like the right word for how it's being executed?
I think that is the perfect way to describe this, with a little sprinkle of kind of gambling. It makes things fun. Like I said, friendly competition with friends, especially if you have friends that went to a rival, college or university, and you guys are featured in the game of the week. Like, let's go.
Looking to the end of the year from a sports marketing perspective and overall, what does success look like for FrostBuddy? How do you get to the end of the year, hopefully, go on vacation after holiday season and feel really great about it?
I mean, to me, we have a goal. We'd like to achieve, um, I don't want to share specific numbers, but we have a huge goal from August to end of year. And the revenue is going to shift like from January through, call it the middle to the end of the summer. Core products drive most of our revenue. Our to-go buddies, our bottle buddies, licensing is still a quiet monster in the background, but we kind of switch to being a license driven company as soon as college football season starts. Also, our licensed products are heavily giftable, right? Like my dad went to UVA. He's still asking me, he's like, where's my UVA bottle buddy? And I'm like, Dad, I promise you this year for Christmas or your birthday, you will get all the UVA FrostBuddy gear that you can possibly ever want. But I think that is a huge feature of kind of the license portion of the business that some people overlook, that like these are awesome gifts, whether for your partner, for your brother, for your sister, for your parents, for your friends. I mean, everybody went to college somewhere, and everybody has pride in that, especially in the United States. In terms of success, I would love to replicate the metrics we were able to achieve during the March Madness promotion, except extended over, 3 months instead of 3 weeks. To me, that would be huge. As everyone in e-commerce knows, AOV to me is like the holy grail of numbers, right? You improve AOV, it indirectly improves LTV, it improves your CAC. Like it is the magical number that if you can improve that, everything looks better. Like all of the math makes more sense. So that's my focus. Like, how far can we push AOV? Like, will Cheers drive enough volume with this promo to influence total AOV on a monthly basis? Like, I'm so excited to see where this goes with you guys. So, to me, that's what success looks like. And then let's run it back. Let's get in position to do March Madness again, and think creatively about this.
What do you think FrostBuddy is doing extremely well that other brands can learn from?
The sheer breadth of our product selection is a huge advantage. It's a lot to manage. We have a lot of SKUs. When I started, I honestly was like, oh my God, there are so many SKUs here. But I can tell you, Drew, after working at FrostBuddy for 6 months, the sheer, kind of breadth of our product selection is what drives a lot of this growth. I think other brands could learn from us in the fact that they shouldn't be scared to iterate on designs, to test wild designs that they may not think have broad appeal. But the reality is, like, some of the craziest designs are what sell the best for us. On the licensing front, I think, you know the same is true for licensing. If we have, new innovative designs on the licensing front, it just makes our products that much more desirable. Like, our goal is to have the coolest licensed designs that you've ever seen. Like, and we're not scared to really push the envelope. A lot of brands are happy enough with putting, the Alabama A on a cup and calling it an Alabama cup. We're not satisfied with that. Like, I hope everyone stays tuned and watches some of these new designs we're dropping in the next couple of months, because I think it's important to never rest and to keep pushing things forward. And, one of the other core advantages we have at FrostBuddy is we're not a huge company, so we're able to do things quickly. And our CEO, like, Brock is 27 years old. He's still kind of in that place where he likes to challenge things, where he likes to test things, where sometimes we ask for forgiveness instead of permission, and that's okay. And it's allowed us to kind of quietly ascend in the background here. I'm just hopeful we can keep the ball rolling, become, $100+ million company in 2026.
Just feels like every way that the company is like set up, like from the way you do content, from the way you can produce products, it's like all built to just capitalize on like what is currently trending. And then of course you have the great foundation that it's just amazing, useful products that people, and true everyday products.
We're similar to, fast fashion brands, where we can get things commercialized quickly and capitalize on trends that are really meaningful to a lot of people. And just thinking outside the box, like, how many of our competitors had a Shark Week product? We dropped, not to take this in a place other than sports, but we dropped a style we called Duck It that had a ton of rubber ducks all around the products of varying styles. And it was one of our more successful launches of the year. You know, we launched kind of book inspired designs that did phenomenally. And it's just interesting to keep testing and keep pushing and, you know, see what people want. We have a Facebook group that we use as kind of like a focus group. You know, we're closing in on 70,000 members. It's incredibly engaged. Brock interacts with, you know, our customers on a daily basis in this group, and it just keeps the whole thing grounded. You know, like, we'll never not be this company run by a couple of brothers that was started in the Midwest. Like, we're approachable. And like I said, I think it's important to remind everyone that, like, you know, we're family focused, we're faith based. Like, all of these things are very, very important to kind of the ethos of FrostBuddy.
Absolutely. Any final advice to brands looking to grow in 2025, 2026?
Yeah, I mean, just more is more, in my opinion. If you're looking to kind of launch yourselves into the space, like, I think it's really important to reach out to as many people as you can, build relationships with friends, colleagues, people that you know that may be able to help, and don't be scared. You know, there's nothing worse than inaction or overthinking. Like, just come up with a plan at the beginning of the day and, you know, make it happen. I like to tell my wife that there's nothing more powerful than a sunrise, because, you know, the dawn of a new day is really like when anything's possible. And, like, obviously, like, go out and leverage the tools that we have. Like, I'm a huge fan of ChatGPT. Like, the app is constantly open on my Mac and my phone. Like, don't be scared to have a conversation with it, to ask for ideas, to talk to friends. Like, I think it's so important to just always be, you know, kind of sharing and communicating with people. And sometimes the best idea can come from the most unlikely place. And it just comes down to people's perspective on things.
So, final question, any hot take sports predictions this year?
LeBron's going to win his fifth championship. Luca's looking like Ozempic Luca. Like, I'm all in with the Lakers. We got Marcus Smart. Like, come on, year 23, let's go. That's my hot take this year.
I can get behind that for sure.
And Bronny James is going to win a meaningful role in the Lakers rotation.
I like it. I agree. Cool. Awesome. Well, Justin, thanks so much for joining us on the Cheers Pod, and congrats on all the growth at FrostBuddy, and super excited for football season here.
Yeah, thanks, Drew. Looking forward to launching the Game of the Week program with you guys, and thanks for having me.